welcome back to KSP 2020 Let's Play Science Mode. I'm going to pick up where I left off, where I had successfully put the and gained quite a bit of science to finish off a certain tier of the tech tree. Now, I'm planning to put a cupola module as well as some planning a new mission to the Mun to regather previous data, some new data, as well as deploying some breaking ground science modules to get some more science that way before putting out some relays and planning possibly a Duna and Ike mission, which I'll probably start by sending a new updated station once I get the science out there. So before I continue, I also discussed talking about updating the difficulty, which I'm going to do right now. I'm going to lower the science rewards down to 60% now, and everything else is going to remain the same for now. Now that we're making less science, it's going to be a little more difficult to progress a little further in the game and get more science to unlock more parts. However, I already have enough to be able to start inching towards planetary missions like Duna and Eve. More and other certain things in the Joule system, I'll have to garner much more science, which after doing this Mun mission and expanding the station to be able to get that science, I'm going to have to push even harder to get out to places like Duna and Eve and some of the Joule system to unlock more stuff by garnering more science, with it being more difficult to garner that science and able to progress even further. So to begin, I'm going to put the cupola module that I already have here, the two parts that I have ready, and I'm going to put that into orbit and make the rendezvous at the station to attach this to it, and also a hub to allow for larger docking ports on larger vessels like what I'm going to be using on the Mun to be able to dock up with it. Now, in order to do this, I already have the cupola and the docking module. Now I just need to finish the rest, and it's going to have to be self-contained to where it can make it to the station on its own. And we did unlock a new probe core or drone brain, which I'm going to use for this. And I'm going to attach it up here and leave this completely unmanned. That way there's room in it to hold Kerbals from returning from other missions. Now I need to move this down into it, and I'm also going to attach some more habitat room to be able to hold more Kerbals just in case it's necessary. And to do that, I'm going to put this here. That way now I can hold 4 in here and then 1 for good viewing if they feel like getting in there and checking out the view. I'm going to need some lights on it for the docking. I'm just going to put 2 on. I'm going to put them over here, and that should be good. So let's radial to that, bring them in, and turn the lights on and see what this is going to look like, see if it's going to light that port up or not. And it is, so that's good. Let's see, what else are we going to need for this? We're not going to need any more of these utility parts, so I'm going to move on. I'm going to add some communication abilities. I'm going to update the relay ability of these things by placing a couple of these. Well, I'm going to do a radial 4 and set them like this. But I'm not just going to leave them there. I'm also going to bring those in, clip those in a little bit, like so, until that happens, and then push it back out. More stability. And it's going to need some power, so I'm just going to add a couple of these onto it. And then move those in as well. I could leave them out where I'm going to be putting this under a fairing, but I don't like them to be exposed, so I'm just moving them in. And then I'm going to place some solar panels on here in the same way that I did the relays, and strut those up. So now it has the power taken care of. And since I'm all about redundancy, I'm also going to put 4 redundant solar panels on there, just in case something goes wrong with the other ones. I won't need anything for re-entry or thermal. Won't need anything for the ground or aerodynamics. We will need some fairings, but not quite yet. We're going to get to those here soon. However, I am going to need some updated docking ports. I'm going to place those here on these windows, and I'm going to go to the back side for one of the small ones because of versatility, and it's going to have to be able to dock up somewhere. So let's place that there, and now we have all kinds of options. In fact, I don't even need this one up here. I'm just going to get rid of it, and I'm going to further push this probe core down into this vessel just to get rid of it, out of sight and out of mind. That, and so we'll be able to use the cupola for its true purpose of viewing stuff. I just need to find a way to get a hold of that probe core. It's not cooperating. If I can just find the sweet spot, and there it is. Alright, now I'm going to move it down in there, and that should take care of that. Is there anything else I need to add to this? I don't believe there is. I would like to get this advanced reaction wheel here. That'll help out a lot. I do need to add some Rcs thrusters, and at this point, well, before I do that, I'm going to put a structural part, the Rocket Max brand adapter, down here, and place another small docking port down there, because that's how it's going to attach to the station that we already have in orbit. So I'm going to place that there, strut that up. Need to make sure that this is also strutted up, and that it's strutting to grandparent part. Good. Okay, so that's that. What else was I going to do? That's right, the RCS. That comes next. Let's get the fuel inside of it, check the overlays to make sure I'm placing it properly where it needs to be. Okay, now let's add just about 4 of these should do it. I'm going to add them where the center of mass is. Set it to radial 4, strut those up, and then clip them into it so they're out of sight and out of mind. Once I get that done, it'll be time to add those Rcs thrusters. And I'm going to put those as close to the top and then as close to the bottom as possible without interfering with any of the other parts or entry areas for this. I'm going to put radial 4 here, then go down, find a similar spot for these, which will probably be, I want to say, about here. So that should be good. Now I just need to build the rest to get this thing up into space, into orbit, and where it can rendezvous with the station. To make this fully functioning and optimal, I need to keep in mind what it's going to need just to make orbit and make the rendezvous happen. Just for the sake of strength, for this to be able to not fall apart, I'm just going to put another docking port down here to attach to the fuel tank that I'm going to be using. For this stage, I'm going to need to go up to the like the 18 series, where you have the 16 series like this, you have the 18 series like this, and this, and this, and this. These are all fitting of the 18 range. If I'm not making any sense, I'll show you this too. The 12 range is for like the Terriers and so on. Then you have the 18 range, which is for like the Cheetah or the Twin Bore. Then you have the 25 range, which is for like the mainsail, the Skipper, the Poodle, the Wolfhound. I'm going to make this an 18 range. So in order to do that, I'm going to put this adapter on, then I'm going to grab the fuel tank adapter to bring it up to the 18 range, and then put enough fuel to be able to do a Wolfhound, no, not the Wolfhound, the Cheetah stage. That should be good. Let's grab just one of these small FLTX 900s, see what that puts the weight at. It's not very optimal. I should probably get the TX 440 and then attach the Cheetah and see what the weight looks like at that point. That puts it at 10.7. That's plenty. It's going to have tons of delta V once it's in a vacuum at that weight, that thrust to weight. So now I'll just strut all these up, and then I need to make sure that I have plenty of struts connected to the upper portion of this. That way it's not ripping itself apart while in atmosphere making its way to space. and I need to get the TD18 decoupler for this 18 series stage, and then I can get the adapter to bring it up to the Rocco max size and put a fairing on it under that. But before I do that, I'm also going to put another reaction control wheel, one of the larger ones right here, and then the fairing, which is right here. We just unlocked it in the last episode. It'll be our first time using the 25 series fairing. It'll be pretty nice. I just have to make sure it's wide enough to cover those relays, which it won't be. I need to make it a little wider. I'm going to bring it out to here first, then continue to bring it out to, say, about here, and then I'll bring it up, and that should be wide enough to account for those relay antennas, which it is, which is good, and then I'll close it. And that'll take care of that, our vacuum stage, or at least the transfer to the rendezvous to the station. That'll definitely take care of that. This is where the Wolfhound's going to be. I need to finish that stage now. I'm going to raise the ejection force for this. Is a bit of a large fairing, somewhere in the neighborhood of 400.4 units on the ejection force. I'm going to keep it at 2 sides because I always love making it look, I don't know, true to life, I guess you could say. So that's all set up. Now I just need to finish this Wolfhound stage. I can only add maybe 10 to 12 more tons onto it, thereabouts. So I'm just going to put this X216 under here and then attach the Wolfhound, and that should be good for the Wolfhound stage. And 375 kilonewtons of thrust, which means it can push 37.5 maximum. It's going to be pushing 31.8, so it's going to have some fantastic thrust to weight. Now I just need to check the staging as well, and then grab a hold of this and move it on up, like so. And now for the mid stage and the launch stage, and that's all I'm going to need. So T25 decoupler. We'll put another reaction control wheel under that just for more control, more stability, all that good stuff. And speaking of control and stability, I almost forgot I need to add some struts in here from this stage, since it's a different size, up to this stage for more stability for the in-atmosphere launch phases. And that should take care of that. So it should not rip itself apart or wobble and bobble or break apart. It should have plenty of structural integrity. So let's move on. Make sure that this is strutted up, and I need to make sure it's set the heaviest. And this decoupler is strutted, very good. Alright, so let's build the skipper stage now. Now normally I would have to do the skipper stage and then add on to it for the launch. Not anymore. That skipper stage is going to be a very effective mid-stage engine now because of some stuff that was recently unlocked. It can push up to 650 in a vacuum, a little less in atmosphere. So I need to optimize this by attaching it, seeing what the weight's going to be. I think I'm going to get rid of this fuel tank and just put the smaller one on, which is right down here, the X208. That should optimize the weight versus the thrust for where it's going to be in the upper atmosphere by the time it's ready to be staged. So let's fix that staging. 2 engines, which is going to make this staged correctly. And put one of these on. To be able to move this stage, we're going to break out the new fuel tank, the jump, place that there. We're going to add a little bit more onto it too. We're going to add a X216 under that. It's going to be a little more aesthetically pleasing, but it's also for functionality, because now I'm breaking out the new engine, the mainsail, which can push up to 137.9 tons off the launch pad. It's not recommended that you max that out, but we're at 109.7, so it's going to be pretty darn good. So that in itself should definitely be enough to get this thing up to the station. And plus, we now have a new launch vessel that we can save separate from that and attach to the new lunar mission vessel once we get this done. So now it's time to test this thing and see what it is capable of doing. But first, I need to make sure that the aerodynamics are good by placing those on there. And then put some launch stability enhancers on there, which I will put as close to the center of mass as possible, which is looking like it's going to be just above this skipper engine right there. So now that's good. It's already at the appropriate height in the VAB. Everything looks to be okay. Anti-crew crabbing doesn't matter. Parachutes missing doesn't matter. Docking port uses decoupler doesn't matter. Hatch will not be obstructed once we get rid of this fairing here. So it looks to be good. Let's go ahead and save. Now I just need to tab over and set up some custom action groups. I am wanting the custom action group 1 to be for toggling the solar panels. Then I guess that's it. Not gonna really need them for anything else. So that takes care of the action groups. Just need to make sure no kerbals are sneaking into this thing. So let's save that now. And we should be good to go. So let's go ahead and launch it. I'm going to get it into orbit and then worry about making the transfer to the station. I prefer to do it that way. It's easier for me. It's fun. A bit more difficult to launch and transfer straight to the station off the launch, but totally doable if you know how to do it. It's really not that hard, but this is just easier, and that's how I'm going to do it. And there's tons of delta V in this thing, especially in a vacuum, so it's not necessary to launch it in a way that's the most efficient to get it there. I can get it into orbit and waste more delta V transferring it, so it's not a big deal. So, let's launch. Now, while it's on its way up, I'm going to get a beat on the location of the station and set it as the get this new module up to it. And let's begin to turn while we burn. And move it up above it just a little bit so it forces that prograde back to a 90-degree inclination, which is what we need. And move it over to the 80 mark and let it finish on its thing on a 90-degree inclination course. It's looking good. Time to keep moving over, trying to keep it in the center of that prograde. Looks like it needs to be moved over a little faster, so I need to force this prograde over. Moving towards that 90-degree angle by at least 500 meters per second, like I always love to do. Looks like I need to force it over just a little bit, but I don't want to push too far out of that prograde mark or we'll lose control of the vessel. Now onto the skipper stage. Definitely pushing way more efficiently than it has in the past. It's good to have that as a mid-stage engine again in a more proper fashion now, as opposed to how I've been doing it with those outer stages around it. I never did like that. But there we are. We're definitely going at an appropriate speed. That's what I like to see. Typically it is around 40 to 50,000 meters by the time I reach that point at this speed, so this is more normal for me. And once it hits 70,000, I'll kick it sideways, take it out to 100,000, circularize, and then make the transfer to the station at the appropriate time. And we are halfway, a little over halfway through that. It's not bad. Shouldn't take too long and too much more to stage it into the Wolfhound Stage and let that take over from there. And then we'll get to see the cheetah in action for the first time in this series. And I don't think I've really used the cheetah in any of my other series as well, so it'll be cool to use that for once. There we go. Let's lock, put it at about -7 as per usual. It should be about time to stage now. Let's get in there. We're almost out of the atmosphere. So staging is correct. I will need to stage and then deploy the fairings during the next stage. Looking good so far. Let's kick that. Slowly bring it up. Let the Wolfhound take over from here, while keeping an eye on the apoapsis as it continues to push it out now towards 100,000. And we are close enough to being out of the atmosphere, so I'm going to kick that off, get rid of those fairings, and keep moving. That way they fall back down to Kerbin instead of staying in orbit. Not sure if they ever actually do stay in orbit or not. They don't show up as debris. It's weird. And I think it's safe to go ahead and deploy these now. And we are now officially out of the atmosphere now. You're looking good. Let's open up that resource menu. Keep an eye on everything. And let's check out where our apoapsis is. Still gaining boost. If you look at that line, it's almost halfway to the orbit. Not bad. Need to do something about the degree of inclination here, though. Let's move up a little bit and see what that does. Is it going to move it around? Make it worse, make it better? I guess we'll find out. I'd like to get... Okay, well, I guess that was optimized already. Let's find out before it hits that 100,000. Alright, we'll just take it from there. And we'll be able to adjust that degree of inclination here, the ascending node, before we finish the circularization, because the periapsis is only at 61,000, so it's not fully circularized. So I'm going to point myself anti-normal in anticipation of getting to that ascending node. Let's get on over to the anti-normal mark. It's also good to not have kerbals in this thing for once, just in case something goes wrong and we lose one. Alright, so let's go ahead and warp on over to that ascending node now. We're going to be in the dark though. Don't really care for being in the dark, especially with probes. But I think we'll be okay because our electrical charge is mighty and strong. Alright, let's highlight that, warp a little closer. As soon as we get there, we'll punch the gas and get that corrected. 2, 1, 0. Let it wrap. There we go. Now, where is the station? Well, we do need to go ahead and finish circularizing still, unless that did it for us, and it did not. So let's go ahead and finish that circularization. It's not going to take a whole lot. That's trailing right behind us, but we're going to be coming up on it. So just a little bit more time warping and we'll be ready to go on that. I believe it was somewhere in the neighborhood of 140 to 150 kilometers. We'll wait for that to wrap around at that point. 2, 1, 0, cut. Now let's do a little bit of time warping until that is directly in line with us. Might even be able to get a connection on it. Let's open that up and try to get a line on it. Let's see where it is. There it is. Okay, let's see if we can get that line lined up with our orbits inside over here. As soon as it's there, we will cut and then begin a prograde burn directly to the target. As you can see, it is lined up with the prograde, so let's extend that apoapsis out until we get an encounter. Shouldn't take too much more. Just check the delta V. Plenty. Okay. Once we get that in line with it, we'll cut and then figure out just how much it's going to take to narrow that down. I'm going to push that out beyond it a little bit until get a little room to play here. A little bit of room to play. Now we can switch to going radial in or radial out and figure out what we need to do to tighten that up. If I had to guess, I'd say it's radial in, but I usually get them backwards, so I'm going to go radio out and see what happens. Okay, so I was right. It is radio in. So let's move on over to radio in. Lock onto there and try to narrow that down. Once we get that, let's see what we can do now. With it still, but I don't think it's the big issue. The big issue is the separation right now. See just how close we can get this. Need to keep correcting that too. Make sure it's nice and centered on that radial in. 654. I need to put a thrust limiter on this. Make it a little bit easier. Now let's try to narrow that down just a wee bit better. 3, 2, 1. Might be able to zero it out. Perfect. Alright, we'll take it. Now let's update the quick save just in case anything happens. And bring it on in and dock it on up. Let's set that to go a little bit on its own, and then we will warp on over, say 17.5. That'll give us 20 seconds to punch the brakes for how much? Can't see what the relative speed is. I need a little more time than that, so 200 and some meters per second, you say. Alright, so 15.5. That's about 30 seconds away. We'll take it. Alright, let's switch to target mode. Be prepared to put this back up to full throttle. Let's keep an eye out for the station. There it is. The Odyssey. And point retrograde. It's so nice to have that node. So used to sending out newbies. New pilots that aren't leveled up, so haven't had those the past few missions. Once we get a little closer, it'll be time to punch the brakes. Say about 2.5 kilometers away, I'll punch the brakes, start to slow that down. Already starting to feel the effect of all the part counts on that station. Hopefully we're not going to whiz right by it. I think we might. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I hit the brakes just in time. Looking good. Now we just need to close the gap and dock it up. Did not anticipate that we would still have the Wolfhound at this stage though, so RCS is going to act a little funky, but it should be okay where we have more than one set of them. 3, 6, 5, 4. Let's go on ahead and continue to close this gap just a wee bit until it won't close no more. Starting to slow down a little bit. 2, 1, 0, 9. Looks like that's it right there, so let's try to kill this speed now. As best as possible. There we go. Perfect. Alright, now to dock this thing up, which we're going to use the station for that control to do. I did put this here as a redundancy just in case. So we're going to dock it to that part of it. Now we just need to decide what part of this we're going to dock to it, and I'm going to go with this. And control from here, and find that docking port on this. Might need to rotate it around until it's facing. So let's do that. Let's make sure that we are controlling from that again. And then we'll rotate it. Let's try to figure out how, okay, there we go. And get that locked onto that target node. There we go. Looking good. Now when we switch back, we should be able to get a beat on that port. Just need to make sure we're still controlling from the desired port that we're going to be docking to that one. It should be nice and clear of everything by the time we get to it. If I had to guess, let's say we need to go this way. Oh yeah, we still need to set it as our target though, don't we? But we can see it now, so we won't have any problem doing that. Let's set that as the target. There it is, not too far off. Alright, now let's let the RCS take over. Just inch it on in. We'll put it at about 1 meter per second to close that gap in nicely, and then we'll punch the brakes once we get closer so we can realign everything. Because I'm thinking it's going to need it. Got about 18 meters to go at about 1 meter per second. So in about 10 seconds, it'll be time to punch the brakes. You can see it already starting to deviate a little bit. Let's lower it down just a hair. Try to get it nice and close, but not too close. Alright, now that we are zeroed out on our relative velocity, we need to prepare this thing for docking. And to do that, I'm going to close some of these solar panels on the station so that they don't crash into the ones in the new hab and cupola that we're going to be docking this with. So let's retract those. Everything else looks like it might be in the clear. Pretty certain it will be. And I was thinking we're in the clear, so let's go for it. If we lose anything, it's probably going to be one of those relays. I need to close this relay just in case. But I think the rest of these may be in the clear. Just in case, I'll close this one as well. Everything else should be okay from the looks of it. Now let's just make sure they're both facing where they need to be. Let's put you here. And swap back to this. Move it on over. That looks good. Let's swap back now. Adjust this one more time. Lock it there. Just a little bit of an adjustment for this one now. Looking good. Looking good. Alright, so let's use the station to dock up to that now. Go back to linear control mode. Give it a little bit of oomph. Aim the camera at that docking port. Make sure that we're controlling from there. And hopefully this goes well. If it does, we'll have a new cupola module as well as a habitat to house some Kerbals. In between these missions and all that good stuff, everything looks to be in the clear. We need to punch the brakes, get this lined back up properly, because it is not staying lined up at all. Let's get that done before it gets too close. Probably need to pull away just a little bit and cancel that out. That should be good. Alright, let's get you faced where you need to be facing. Looking close to where it needs to be. Come on, I believe in you. You can do this. Right there, perfect. Okay, now we just need to line this one back up. In fact, it may start to dock as soon as I get it closer. Look at that, it did. Fantastic. So that's done. Now we can figure out if we can re-extend some of these things. I can totally re-extend this solar panel over here. That'll be fine. So let's do that. And you know what? I'm thinking this might be in the clear. Let's find out. We might lose a solar panel and an antenna, but okay, it's awfully close. I'm going to retract that. What about the other one on the other side? It's probably going to be the same deal, right? Yeah, if I extend that one's going to be in the same situation as the other one, so I'm going to leave that alone. I do need to get rid of this Wolfhound Stage though, so I'm going to highlight all these and get some fuel transferred over to this. There, so we're not wasting any. Looking good. Somehow. Okay, yeah, it's good. Alright, let's decouple that manually. And then we'll check those tanks after we decouple that. Take a look at it. See if it really is empty. How's that looking? Zero fuel. Looking good. Alright. Now, I'm kind of curious. I can only push 25 tons. How much does this thing weigh now? It weighs 27 tons. So we may wish to get rid of that. And let's do that. Let's open up these tanks, see how much fuel there is, see how much room there is in this one. It may be able to take it all. Let's go ahead and do that. There's still quite a bit of fuel there left over, but we're not really losing out a whole lot if we get rid of that, so let's get rid of it. Let's undock or decouple that. That's looking much better. Let's try to pull away from that now. We'll control from this probe core right here to do so. Let's put our control point there. And then go back to linear control mode, activate the RCS, and try to pull away from this thing. Just a wee bit, and then we'll counter thrust to balance that back out. Just need to remember to get rid of that now. Got the appropriate counter thrust applied now. Good, alright. So there we have it. Now we have the cupola module, as well as the habitat attached to it, with new relays attached to it, as well as more power, and tons more options for docking as well. And the crew hatch at the very top of it. It's nice and balanced. Shouldn't be too much of an issue if we need to transfer any of this using the now fully fueled Poodle stage down here with 1300 delta V. The vessel now weighs how much after getting rid of that? Totally optimized for the Poodle, so that's fantastic. Now it's ready and awaiting the Kerbals that we're going to be sending to the Mun, and then returning from the Mun here to Kerbin Orbit to dock up with the station and transfer the science into this science lab, which currently has 126.9 out of 750 data, so we can definitely use more data. Let's go get some. Let's update the save. And after we do that, we'll head to the tracking station to get rid of some of this debris. I think I can actually see the desert launch pad or airstrip down there. Huh. Isn't that nifty? Alright, let's head to the tracking station and clean up some trash. Be the same thing as having a probe core inside of the engine stage to be able to deorbit itself. Really no different. Except that I didn't put one in there to do it, but I don't care if you don't care. I won't tell anyone if you don't. Alright, let's get rid of that stuff. How much debris and where is it? Alright, this debris is the one right next to the station, right? And what debris is this? I couldn't possibly. Oh yeah, the Wolfhound Stage, that's right. Need to check the mass on everything to make sure we're not getting rid of the wrong thing. The station, 132 part count, it's good, so let's get rid of these. 14 parts on that stage, 13 on this one. It's awfully suspicious, but we'll go with it. Alright, now let's get back to the Space Center to create a new Mun mission vessel. One that can house the breaking ground modules, and it's more optimized for landing and returning and docking up with the now upgraded station. And that can hold 3 Kerbals in it, because we are going to take a full team. A pilot, a scientist, and an engineer. Alright, let's start a new craft. And begin with the Mark III command pod. Now we're in familiar territory. So this shouldn't take too long to build real fast. So I'm going to get straight to it. Of course, it's going to need the new docking port. And let's go straight down to utility and get the return parts. all set up here. And these, which I'll put this right over top of the window. That's kind of where I want that. That takes care of the chutes that I'll need to return. I don't know, in the past, that's proven to be a problem, so I'm going to actually add a little bit more to this for a more controlled landing. So every time I've landed like this in the past, the heat shield kind of tends to blow up, so let's add an inline stabilizer reaction control wheel here, and set it to heaviest part, not grandparent. And we'll put more drogues on here. We'll also add some lights to this thing. I'm going to put the drogues here, radial 4, grandparent strut those, and then put some lights on this thing so we can dock up to the station once we leave the MUN. Set those to radial 2. Let's move those in now. That should be good. Let's turn them on and see what it looks like. Fantastic. Now, what else? Well, we do need to move those up a little bit away from the chutes, actually, so let's move them up and out. Let's move them up a little further out again. Actually, that should be fine. Let's turn them back on and see what it looks like. Looking good. What else do we need? Nothing else from the utility menu. We are going to need some cargo storage. Let's put those on. Let's put them down here, I guess. We can put the solar panels on those. Let's auto strut those up and move them on in. See what this is going to look like. Is it clear of the, well, I'm not sure if it's going to be clear of the ablative protector, the heat shield. I'm not sure if it's going to be clear enough of that, so let's do that. Let's open those up and get what we need inside of there. We're going to need the control station. We're going to need the GUEB monitor. We're not going to need the weather analyzer, so let's just put the solar panel in there and add some redundant panels over this way as backups. There we go. Now everything's nice and balanced. So now let's put the science on here. We're going to put the science like so. We're going to put the temperature thermometer there. We're going to put the barometric pressure reader over here. Then we'll grab the mystery goo and place it at the top of this cargo storage unit, say right here. We'll strut that up and then move it on in. Yeah, it's going to be where it needs to be. Alright, so now let's try something a little new, a little different. Let's put a decoupler, a TD12 decoupler right here. Ah, the 6 series, a 12 series. There we go. Let's put one of those right here, and then we'll put the Science Junior up there. Score some more science that we can take back to the station and home even. And now we can just decouple that whenever it's time to make re-entry. Get rid of some weight and some other useless parts. So that's good. Let's go ahead and fix our staging too though. Let's make sure the drogues are going off first after that's decoupled. Put these drogues with those drogues. And make sure those are going off after that. Looking good. Let's go ahead and name this thing. And I'm going to name it after the singer-songwriter that I'm currently listening to. I'm going to name it the M2 Kravitz. So now we have our second MUN vessel, the Kravitz. The predecessor of the M1 series Arcadia. Looking good. Looking damn good there, Mr. Kravitz. Alright, now, what else do we need to add to you? Pretty sure, yep, we need some power. Let's shove some of these smaller battery banks onto it. Don't need a whole lot, so we'll radial 4 those there. clip those into the command pod. I need to make sure that the Science Junior strutted. Good thing I checked. Alright, now it's looking kind of like a Gemini, and then let's get the... that should be fine. Let's go ahead and extend them, see what they're going to look like when that's good to go. And then we'll retract them. Am I still going to be able to access the cargo storage? Yep, but only barely. That's fine. Now we need to get the ablative protection on here, the heat shield, the 25 series or 2.5 meter. Get that strutted up. Make sure it's placed correctly. Kind of have a feeling it wasn't there. Alright, now let's get a decoupler on the butt directly on that heat shield. And then we need to take care of the RCS. So let's get some fuel for the RCS in this thing. We'll set it to radial 3. I'll go with radial 3. That should be enough for this mission. Strut those up and clip those on in, and then we'll figure out where we need to put the RCS. At least for this stage. We're going to add more later. Let's put some RCS on the center of mass, wherever that may be. Right about here. We'll radial 4 them there. That should be fine. Now to build the transfer stage back to the station. And it's also going to get them home. We're going to put a poodle for that. Let's grab a Rockwell Max X216. Place that there. And that'll be for the poodle stage, which we'll put on right now. I'm going to need some RCS for that now. Center of mass for that is right there. Let's put the RCS on there. Radial 4, of course. There we go. And now it's time to build the landing stage for the MUN mission. It's going to be quite the vessel. I think I might put some side staging on for that actually. I don't know. Might be best to do that. So let's do that. Let's grab some side decoupling. And we'll place those right here. Radial 4. Not too concerned about asparagus staging it. Let's get an FLT 800 and put those there where they're still going to be clear of the panel. Actually, no, this is a terrible idea because we still need to put all this in fairings. So we'll just make a Wolfhound Stage for the landing. But let's put some redundant landing gear on here just in case. And we'll put them here. Maybe a little lower. No, that should be fine. Alright, so there's our redundant landing gear just in case it's needed. Now we'll make the Wolfhound Stage, which will be the primary stage for the MUN mission, landing on it and all that. Let's put that there. Let's get a reaction control wheel for that. And strut that to heaviest and get the optimal amount of fuel needed for this. We'll grab another one of these tanks. Looks like we can spare a little more. So let's grab one of the smaller ones and attach it to the butt of that. And then we'll put the Wolfhound there. Looking good. Let's strut that Wolfhound to root and grab some landing gear for that. Hopefully it'll be able to clear it. We'll try to put it as low as possible. Radial 4, of course. Looks like it's going to clear it. Should help stabilize it plenty good. Let's deploy that shielded. Looking mighty fine. Alright, so there's our MUN vessel. Now we just need to build it up to be able to get out to the MUN. Let's raise it on up. Clear it from the bottom of the VAB. And now what? What are we going to need to do now? Before we move any further, I'm going to set up some custom action groups. The first one will be for the solar panels. The next one, since there are two different sets of landing gear here and I don't want to mess around, I'm going to set custom group 2 to predictably be these, and if we end up having to get rid of those, we'll have action group 3 for these instead. That should be all we need for the action groups here. So let's go ahead and move on to the transfer staging. We'll begin by putting a TD25 decoupler under that Wolfhound and putting a nice large skipper stage there, which is going to need one of these wheels, of course. Set it to heaviest and then get that X232 tank should be good. And let's add a 600 series tank there, or a 216. Let's strut both of those up. Hopefully this isn't going to push it anywhere too close to 65 tons, but we'll find out. It's going to be awfully close. Yeah, we need to put a smaller tank there then. So let's get that smaller one. Attach that to the butt. And now it should be optimized. And we need to strut that skipper. And then set up the launch stage, which is going to be somewhat similar to what we just had for the new modules that we just attached to the station. Just, we're going to have some side staging included for it. Let's get this prepared. Let's get those wheels on. Let's set that to heaviest. Double it up. Attach that. Well, we almost attached it. Let's get the other fuel tank ready though. Let's bring it on down. Go back up. Attach this. Strut it up. And attach the other tank. Strut it up. Zoom on out. Raise this vessel up. And get that mainsail attached. Where is the mainsail? There you are. Alright, now the fun part. We need some side staging. So let's get some decouplers out. We're going to make them a little larger than usual, but I think we can still use these, so it'll be okay. Let's put these up here. Radial for those. And let's break out, or kick out the jams, as they say. What engine are we going to be using? We're going to be using the Bobcat, maybe. Maybe the Bobcat. Where the... oh yeah, there's the twin boys. Okay, we're not using those. We're using the Bobcats. So we can put a max of 374 kilonewtons of thrust worth of tonnage, which is 37.4 tons. Don't want to go more than that. Let's use the 18 series tanks. And how much was it? 3 point what? Or 30 what? 37.4. Alright, how much does that weigh? Those weigh 2 tons. So we really don't want to put more than what? About 30 tons of fuel. So let's try to keep that in mind. We can probably use about 3 of these, which is fantastic. Alright, let's attach that there. Make sure it's attached properly. Looking good. Auto strut that up. Let's make it more aesthetically pleasing here by changing that to that. And then we'll add another one. We'll just put it upside down. Right there. That should be okay. Let's strut that up. Now that, let's do some math here. We have 3 of those, and those weigh at what? 10.125 tons. We have 3 of those, so that puts us at 30.375 tons. If we attach one of these, that'll add 2 tons, putting us at 32.375. I'd say that's pretty optimal. So let's put those on, strut those up. Looking good. Looking good. However, the reason why we didn't put more tonnage on it is because we still need some nose cones for this thing, and hopefully we can get the proper size. Hopefully we have those unlocked. Let's find out. The next size down from the Rocco Max is the advanced nose cone. It's a little too small, so we need to put a fuel adapter or just a structural part there. Either way, actually, how about these? Those are still too large too, huh? What are those? 2.5 to 1. There's a 2.5. Well, I guess we're gonna have to go with the adapter itself. So let's get the A151S. Put that there. Do we have the other nose cones that point inward though? Did I happen to miss spotting those? Yes, I did. Let's grab those instead. Those are way more aerodynamically efficient. So let's grab those. We'll color them this way to match up to the tanks. How do those look? Fantastic. Alright, so let's strut those up. Do we have the Separatrons? I think we do. Let's find out. We do have the Separatrons. Those might come in handy. Let's attach some of those onto these. Make sure they're pointing away from that central stage. And auto strut those. Let's put 2 up here. Try to find a good spot. Very easy to remember. So we can go around to the other side and put those in the same spot. On the other side. Looking good. Now we just need to double up on those at the bottom. So let's do that now. Let's put those down here. Do the same thing we just did to the top. We'll strut those up and copy them on over to the other side. Like so. So those are going to pull away after we decouple them now. Just need to make sure they all look good. And then let's set up our fuel lines. And then we can strut up the outer stages themselves. We'll set these fuel lines here towards the bottom. Put them there, looking good. Now let's strut these things up. We'll put 4 here to the central stage. Down here. Looking good. And then we'll go up top and do the same. And then we just need to strut them to themselves. And they'll be good to go. However, we do need to put some from the nose cones to the upper stages to provide some stability. So let's do that now before we strut them to themselves. Alright, how far can we take it up? Pretty far. It's not going to look good strutting them to the landing gear though. Let's just put it here then instead. Those going to connect fine? They are. Fantastic. Alright. So the strutting's good, we just need to strut them to themselves now. Let's put those here. Strut them over here. Go down to the bottom and do the same, and that'll take care of all the strutting that we need. Do the same thing. Down here. That looks good. Need to check the staging still, but we have a little bit more to do before we are ready to go. Let's take care of the aerodynamics now. Well, actually, no. We need to add the payload fairings for these. It's unfortunate that the landing gear might be in the way though, but I'm going to put it right here. I'm going to put the 25 or 2.5 meter series fairings right here. Extend those out beyond the landing gear so it can clear the landing gear and then raise it on up. That should be good. We'll take it up to about there and then close it up here. The M2 Kravitz, you are looking mighty fine. Let's make sure it's clamshelled. We'll set it to about 370, that should be fine. Make sure it's set to 2 sides. Auto strut that up, and we're going to make these look like that this time, in keeping with the theme of the vessel. Reattach that. Now, what else do we need to do to you? We need to add the aerodynamic ports. Let's get those overlays. Where's the center of mass on this thing? Did we just get rid of it? I think we did. There it is. Alright, let's get those fins on here. I think the basic fins should still be enough. Looks like they will be. We'll put them down, say, here. That should be fine. Radial 4 of those. Strut those up. Now we just need to launch stability enhancers, which thankfully we'll be able to place on these outer stages, where the center of mass is for the entire vessel. Looking good. Looking damn good. Nothing else wrong except for the staging from the looks of it. Let's go ahead and fix the staging. We need this down here, followed by these 4 above it. And then we need to make sure those separatrons are going off before these decouplers are going off, so they can pull away. Nice and smooth. And then set these. That's good. Set this. Now it's good. We can set the fairings to go off once we hit that stage. We have one more stage left to prepare after that. What else do we have? This can go off at the same time as that, so let's put those together. Make sure the chutes are good. They are. Alright, now it's time to just lower this thing to the ground. Make sure that that's good. And we'll get our second string team to test this one. So let's lower this thing down. Thing's probably got enough delta V to make it out to Duna, but that ain't where we're going. I like to over-engineer though, right? Alright. I think everything is good. What seems to be the problem with the decoupler though? Right there, that's not a problem. Alright, so I think we're good. Let's check for the sake of redundancy. Don't need any of those, don't need any of that, none of those, 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 none of those. We're good. Let's update the save and launch this puppy. Need to make sure the proper team is set to go. Let's get the main team out of there because I know they're going to be in there. Alright. Third string team. Melman, Gleffel, and Melon, y'all are up. Let's get y'all in there. Get y'all on y'all's way. Let's launch this puppy and see how it goes. Didn't bother to check the thruster weight after adding the fairings and the redundancy of the struts that I put all over the place, but I think it should be fine, because that mainsail still had 300 kilonewtons of thrust extra above the weight of the vessel with its stage, so I think we'll be okay. Those Bobcats are pretty powerful too, and they still had an extra 70 kilonewtons of thrust per engine, so this thing's gonna have some thrust to weight on launch, even with all the extra stuff I've put onto it after putting those engines on. I think the only problem we're gonna have is having too much delta V and extra stages upon getting to the Mun, but that's why we did it. That's why we put the redundant landing gear on there too on the Wolfhound and Skipper stages, just in case. It's gonna be a nighttime launch, I don't like that. Let's time warp until it's morning so we can see the launch. Looking good. Let it restabilize, which it did pretty quickly. It's a mighty fine looking craft if I do say so myself, so let's launch it. Nice and stable. Tons of potential with this one. We'll find out just how much potential it has. It has 1400 delta V just off the first launch stage. It's only going to go up from there. Did I I get those Separatrons on there correctly though. Kind of concerned, a little late for concern now, but looking good up top. How about the bottom? Bottom's looking good. This should be fine. Just a little bit of cold feet. Nothing wrong with that. Let's begin punching this thing over though. It's got the thrust weight to be able to keep pushing forward while moving sideways. So I'm not really concerned about moving it over too fast too soon. It might even be able to reach at least 400 meters per second before it's time to stage, but I need to make sure it stays in the center of that prograde whenever it's time to do that, or it could get ugly fast. Separatrons are going to help though. That's why we put them on there. Let's go ahead and move over to that 90 mark. It should be able to stabilize itself before it's time to stage, as that prograde gets forced over to where it is now. Let's hope those Separatrons pack enough punch though. I guess we're about to find out. Let's stage, right now. See how this goes. Hopefully we don't lose the stage. Look at that. Fantastic. That was beautiful. Alright, mainsail, you're up. Let's see if you can finish what we started. That was awesome. That core left cross formation. Those Separatrons thrusting those boosters away after they emptied out. That was awesome. Alright, let's check the apoapsis out. Should be about 40 or 50k. 50k moving on to 60 already. What a beast. What a beast. Let's go ahead and start moving towards that full horizontal sideways orientation. Almost up to 70. Lock right there. Now where's the mun? Good. It's kind of where I want it to be. Could stand to be a little more this way, but that's okay. Once that apoapsis is pushed out to where it needs to be, stop it and just burn straight to the mun. For now, let's get a lock on that thing. Move this over a little more, say -10. It's still not lowering it, alright? Let's go a little further. There we go. Now that's where I want it to be. How are we looking? 61k up. Let's go to the stage. Get rid of that. Skipper. Let's see what you got. About 1100 delta V. Things are pretty ideal. Things are working out pretty well. We need to move that over even further if possible though, without losing too much of our altitude on that gain on the apoapsis. We want that apoapsis to move from here out to where that ascending node is, so that we can just burn prograde at that point straight to the mun. We're already halfway circularized. I'm not sure if we can push it out there or not without fully circularizing. How's our altitude looking? We're in space now. Let's go ahead and lose those fairings then. Let's move it down the stage and give that a shot. Looking good. Now we can keep moving forward. There's that apoapsis on the move. Once it hits that, time to kick off. Set ourselves to prograde. Let's deploy the solar panels. Lock it there, and then lock it back on the prograde. Now it's time to go to the mun. Let's see what we got. Periapsis is out to 50,000. That's pretty ideal. Let's move that target mark onto that prograde mark and take it from there. Should be right about the time we hit that apoapsis. Looking good. Let's realign it. And let's kick the tire and light the fire. 600 meters per second. I'm not sure if that's going to be enough to get us transferred out there though. The Wolfhound is going to have to take over probably. Let's get his lights on. Forgot to put some lights on the bottom side. It's not good. Alright, so that's out to 500, right? Should be able to get out beyond 1 million at least. Maybe a couple million. Still not going to be enough. We're going to have to use the Wolfhound to circularize around the Mun and get us landing. But that's good. That's why we made it this way. It's going to go out beyond a couple million. Fantastic. As long as it gets that much at least. Alright, now it's time to stage. And let's go to the Mun. Let's focus up on the Mun. And await that encounter at what, 10, 11 point something? 11.4. Moving awfully quick, and let's cut. Slowly bring it in from there. How's that periapsis looking? Let's narrow that on down closer to the surface. 36, we'll take it. Let's save. Going ahead and head to a point to where we're high above the Mun under its sphere of influence and grab the science from there. And we just left the Kerbin sphere of influence. Here we are. Let's grab some science now. Let's observe this. Take it. Let's get some mystery goo, even though I won't be able to really get a whole lot out of it. We will grab, well, I guess we'll just, well, yeah, we'll go with what we have. Alright, let's grab the pressure data and the temperature data, crew report, EVA report, snatch up all that data, reset the stuff. Alright, Scientist Melon, you're up. Let's swap back to the vessel and grab that crew report. Once we get that, we'll swap back to the Scientist to grab all this. And again, we're not getting any science out of the things we've already grabbed. We're just grabbing it again to take to this station, because we haven't processed it through the mobile lab yet. We've only brought this science home once. Alright, so let's collect this and reset it. Do the same with the Science Junior. And we did grab these, right? Got the pressure data. Did we grab the temperature data? Not sure if we have or not. Never hurts to double check, right? Alright, let's grab the crew report. Looks like we already did. Let's store that. Grab the EVA report. Should be everything after that, and we can move into the space near the Mun. Let's have it prepared to lock retro. We'll do that after we start warping. Let's move it on in. Move it on into the space near the Mun. Once we arrive, let it reorient. We have about 57 seconds to do this. Can waste some of that time preparing this science. By the time we're done preparing it, it'll be time to burn, I'd say. That's one. 2 of the resetables. Now we just need to get the 2 externals. Then the crew report. After we get this, then the crew report. Should still have at least 30 seconds on the clock. So I'm going to go ahead and get our scientists out here to grab this data. Should be right on target by the time we're done collecting and restoring. If not, it won't be that big of an issue. There's that. There's that. Let's get that EVA report. The mid-lens, need to remember that. We already have the mid-lens now. Alright, let's get back in there, lock back on the retro, and start burning. Alright, how are we looking? Wasn't too far. Let's try to land in that crater right there. it's a different crater, which is what we want. That's a little bit too far. Let's bring that back around. Still tons of Delta V. We should be able to land with this stage, take off with the Poodle stage, or use them both to get back to the station. Or to the station, not back to it. Let's extend that out to 10K. That'll put it right above the crater. Let's warp one over there. Actually, let's cancel that, try to get some biome action here. What kind of biome action do we have going on right now? Is there anything new? Let's get our scientist out there, Melon. Get you EVA'd. Let's see what kind of EVA report we can get out of you. The Midlands, I think we already have the Midlands. Yep. Let's time warp around. We'll cut there, give it another shot, see what we can get this time. Do it this way, it's a lot easier. Is it going to be the Midlands again? Some Highlands over a crater or anything? What do we have? Midlands again. Ugh. Gosh darn Midlands. Let's warp around to the other side of the mun over here. We'll cut there. See what we have now. If it's the Midlands again, I'm not even gonna, you know. It's EVA. Zoom on in, try to get a beat on that. EVA reports. The East Far Side Crater. Finally something new. Alright. Let's also go ahead and set up your suit's lighting to be more proper. You're a scientist. You need to be lit up like a scientist. How's that indigo looking for you there? Well, I guess we'll be able to find out eventually. There we go. How's that look? Looking fine. Looking mighty fine. Alright. So there's that. We already have 2 biomes now. Let's go ahead and continue time warping on over. See if we might be able to pull off another one. Let's stop her about there. Hop on out. See what we have. Probably the Midlands again. Seems like the majority of the biomes on the mun are Midlands. But we'll find out. The mun's Midlands, you don't say. Alright, let's just land. Let's go over here. Set it to surface mode. Have it prepared to lock retro upon arrival. And then we'll set a trajectory down into that crater. In fact, I think we're about to pass by something special, and I kind of want to check it out. So let's try to reduce that a little earlier. Try to get a look at that. Not sure if I'm seeing it though. Where is that supposed to be? Should be close to being right under us actually. But I ain't seeing it. Should be at the edge of this crater right over here. If this is the proper crater that I was thinking of. I think it is. Pretty certain that it is. 1, 2, 3. We'll take that. Now let's quick save just in case and head on down and see if we can spot what I'm talking about. It's a bit of an Easter egg. Unless it's all the way over there. It is. Yeah, it's right over there, I think. I think we just missed our chance to go check that out. You know what though? We can always just do this. Let's extend that back out. Make our way over there. Is this where it is? I'm not sure if it is or not now, honestly. It may actually be over there somewhere. Oh well, this is where we're gonna land. Let's hit the brakes. Let's activate Custom Group 3. Custom Group 3, come on, where you at? It's not gonna do it, huh? Alright, we'll do it manually. Let's extend that. Everything extending good? Alright, that'll work. We need to punch the brakes a little harder and move it over towards this way a little bit. Try to get a better landing spot here. A little better parking spot. I want it to be closer to that mud rock right in front of us too. Try to get this thing under control. There we go. Let's boost it there and lock back onto retro very quickly. Let's activate the RCS to help out with that. Now we're doing something. Alright, let's punch the brakes right over top of that. That's where we want to land. Bring it on down. We should be able to grab one of those. I hope. It's going down. Oh, I see a mud rock that we can grab. Alright, we're going to go over there instead. Let's get ourselves lined up. That'll work. Alright, let's go back to retro. Get a little closer to that rock over there. Let's reorient the vessel a little bit. Like this, I'd say. That'll be good. Time to punch the brakes. Land right next to that rock. That's what I want. Use the rest of the fuel that we have on this Wolfhound Stage anyways, right? Let's try to reduce that speed a little quicker. That should be good. Let's let her go on down now. And cut. Come on. Come on. Is it going to stay there? Or are we going to have some problems? If I turn off this SAS, are we going to have any problems? This thing is pretty top heavy, ain't it? You going to stay there? I really question if this thing's going to stay here or not. Especially as soon as I get a curval out there. I'm just interested in grabbing that rock. That's the whole reason I parked here. You know what? We'll give it a shot. It's quite the angle, but we'll give it a shot. Let's get our SAS locked on and leave our pilot in there to deal with that. Let's get Gleffel out here first to set up the control module as well as the photovoltaic panels. Alright, so there's that. Let's put that in that inventory, and then we'll have one of these panels off to the side to have ready, just in case. See if we can still pull that off. Alright, let's go on down, and let's set up this station. We'll do it over here, should be okay. Let's just place it right here. And then we can put this in the inventory, save ourselves some time. Let's hop on over to the right. Place that there. Now we just need to go back for another panel or two. You need to look a little more like... Let's get you more yellow. Oh, we had it too. Okay, there we go. Alright, let's open that inventory back up and get these two photovoltaic panels that we're going to need. There's one. There's the other one. Alright, let's get on down. Oh, okay, there we go. Let's place this one right here. We'll back up a little bit. Or actually, we'll go to the other side there. And place it right here. There we go. Now we just need to get this in your inventory and place it. Alright, your job is done. And since there is a bug that is known to kill kerbals when you're switching between stuff, let's update the save. Now it's time to get Melon out here, but before we do, we need to get some science ready for her to, or him to grab. Let's grab a crew report. Then we'll grab the mystery goo. Then the temperature reading. Then the pressure reading. And finally the Science Junior. And let's get that scientist out here now to wrap this up. Take this data, take that data. Let's take the pressure reading now. Get a crew report, or not a crew report, but an EVA report. Come on. There we go. Let's get that surface sample in the EVA report now. Even at 60% science, we're looking pretty good on our gains here. Let's grab the goo now and then reset that canister. And as soon as we are done resetting it, we need to grab it again to bring home. Do the same thing with this, collect the data, reset it, do it again to bring that home. And do the same with these, because I forgot to do it. That'll bring home even more science. It will make the science that we're taking to the station a little more redundant, but that's okay. It needs the room for it anyways. Let's also add some redundant data here with another mystery goo observation to tap that out here at this biome. Need to keep that open so we remember that we have it. Let's store all the experiments in there. Let's grab the goo ebb monitor module, place it in our inventory, and let's hop on down and place that at the experiment control station. We'll place it right here on this side, and we'll check the status of the entirety of this control station setup. As soon as that's deployed, how are we looking? Total power needed, it's going to bump up to 3. We have 6. I should have bumped up to 3, but I guess not. Alright, well, yeah, 2, because 1, 2, and then those are providing the power. Not bad for a 0 level engineer placing those. How about the science then, for a 0 level scientist? 25, not bad. It is connected. Do we have a hop? No comm signal. That's not good. We need a comm signal. Not sure why it doesn't have one. I think we'll be alright though. What's the deal here? Why doesn't that have a signal? Oh, because it's not directly in line with Kerbin just yet. That's okay. It will be soon enough. Let's go grab that rock and get it stored so we can get on out of here and go to that station. We 2 on top of it to grab it, or are we gonna be okay? We're gonna be okay. Let's grab that Munstone. We'll place flag number 4 after we're done with that, and then hop on back into the vessel and get out of here. I hope we can store that Munstone in the science lab on the station. If not, I guess we're bringing another one home for no reason. Alright, let's get you in here. Board up. Let's get our engineer to place that flag, which we'll place right on over this way. She can place it right here. It's going to be flag number 4. Or is it going to be number 5? 2 at Minmus, 1 at Kerbin, 1 here. I think it's supposed to be number 4, but let's find out. How many do we have out? Yep, that's number 4. Guess we only placed 1 at Minmus. We didn't place 1 the last time we went back, I guess. Alright, let's get out of here. Looks like I might have to conclude this in another episode, folks. I'm going to update the quick save just in case I have to cut this off right now. Let me go take a look and find out. Not entirely sure if I'm going to have to right now or not. I'm going to keep going for as long as I can though. Alright, let's correct our view and start the launch. Let's get these retracted. Turn off the brakes. Start heading towards the 90 mark. Pump up the volume. Dance, dance. Lock it about there. Stage. Hopefully that doesn't land all that stuff we just deployed. I don't think it's going to then. Alright, let's go full sideways. There we go. Alright, how are we looking? Good Delta V. Now it's on the move. Alright, we'll take it out there. We're already over 5,000, so we can go ahead and time warp over here. Once we arrive, I'm going to turn that RCS off and then put it to prograde. Cut. Alright, let's do this. Let's just go ahead and circularize. Alright, now let's set that station as our target and make our way out there. Where are you at, station? There we go. Alright, now we just need to go a little bit more forward and make him begin the prograde burn to try to get this encounter. Alright, let's do it. So we set that as a target, or focus point. I guess not. Alright, let's try to focus up on Kerbin instead then. And watch for that to come on in. And we'll cut right about there. And slowly bring it on in from there. Just how far can we take this? That's not bad. Let's go with the intersect 2 then. How's that looking? 47.4. Let's try to narrow that down. We'll put the thrust limiter down. And if I'm not mistaken, we can actually go ahead and point normal and correct the degree of inclination. So let's do that, or at least try to. Try to narrow that down a little more even. Alright, so how's this looking? Is it going to do it? It's going to go down to 1.4. Thinking it's going to, because that's closing in. Alright, so let's try to keep up with that. As we narrow that intersect down a little more. Get it as close as possible. Should be when that ascending node is wrapped around. No, it's not. Alright, so let's continue our prograde burn from there then. See just how close we can get this. That's about as close as we can get that. Can we narrow it down a little more with a little radial in or radial out? Maybe. Let's find out. There's radial in. We'll start with that. Oh, nope. Let's go back to radial out and correct that back to 8.2, and we'll just take the 8.2 and run with it. Alright. Let's go to this ascending node. Let's update the quick save first. And we'll warp one out to that ascending node. upon arrival, we'll correct that. Alright, where is the anti-normal mark? Down here. How much delta V do we have to work with though? 1300, plenty. Alright, let's get that highlighted and begin that burn. I know it's still limited, but I think it'll be okay. The only problem will be punching the brakes once we get to the station. Hopefully we have enough delta V for that. 5, 4, need to keep an eye on that separation. Try to optimize that. 4.6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Still moving pretty quick, even at such a low thrust. 3, 2, 1, 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24. Let's go ahead and put that thrust limiter back up a little bit. It's moving a little too slow for my taste right now. That's about as good as that's gonna get. Let's go ahead and get over there. Might have to cut though. Let me make sure. Still not sure if I'm gonna have to cut this off. Alright, let's get on over there. Could try to narrow it down a little closer, but ain't got time for that. Got a lot of delta V to burn off too. Once it's down to about a minute, we need to cut the time warp and start reducing that delta V. Got a lot to burn here. We can always refuel once we get it done too. At about 100, I'll cut it and correct it. Alright, let's see if we can move that in closer. Try to correct that up a little bit. Where are the radials? There they are. Alright, let's try radial out first and see what that does for us. A little bit. That might do the trick. Nice. Alright, we'll take that. Let's put ourselves back on the target retro. And we'll update the save. I think I'm being played around with a little bit. No. Alright, let's continue then. Let's get it on over to that station. 2, 1, 0. Alright, where's the station? What are we looking at? 4.5. Let's move on closer. And let's cut it there. Okay, sorry about that. Nice. Alright, let's get docked up and finish this up. Let's move you towards the target a little closer, and we'll take it from there. We'll do it with the RCS now. I'm already seeing the docking port I want to go for too. Nice and shiny. Let's go on ahead and kill that speed now. Park it. We'll set that port as our target. Need to make sure that our panels on this vessel are sideways by comparison, like so. And we'll just park that right there. Swap to this, and if I'm not mistaken, it's that side. Yep. So let's set this as the target and control from here. Not bad. Now for the fun part. Let's get these lined up. It's pretty solid. Let's get this one lined back up now. And it's pretty solid. Just a couple more of that. A couple more times doing that and we should be fine. It's awfully close as it is though. About to just go with it. Let's get these lights on. Alright. And then we'll center our view on that port and take it on in. Make sure we're controlling from here. Aim that camera. Now, let's bring it on in. It's already messing with orientation though. I need to fix that. There we go. Go ahead and slow it on down just a wee bit. Keep correcting that prograde mark as much as needed. There we go. Alright, time to transfer this data and get out of here and bring these purples home. Let's go ahead and do the transfer first. How much data do we have to transfer? Quite a bit. Let's do it. Might not be able to get it all in there though. I'll have to transfer some of it elsewhere. Process, 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 process. Can we fit it all in there though? That's what I'm wondering. 6 more to go. Oh, we damned. We actually fit it all in there, did we? Fantastic. How much science is in there? It's almost maxed out. Just 100 away. 10 science. 8.7 science a day. Not bad. Might have to refuel a little bit. I'm going to save just in case. Because once we undock, might have to refuel. Let's go ahead and level up our kerbals. Nice. Not bad. Alright, let's undock. Or let's save now and then undock. Try to get these kerbals home with what we have left in the tank. Now, before we decouple this, we're going to need to make sure to grab that data. So let's EVA Melon, our scientist. Let's grab that. And then we'll grab the rest of the data as well, just in case anything happens. We'll collect this one. The other one's got the same thing, so we can't collect that one. Let's grab this temperature log, and then we'll get back in. This is a dud now, right? Not seeing anything good. Alright, cool. Let's get on home. We need to pull away from the station a bit now, and then point ourselves retro. What I'm going to do now is use up the remaining RCS to do some retro burning. Where'd that station go? There you are. Get a nice view of that as we leave. How much monopropellant is left though? Let's try to burn through the rest of that before we start using the remainder of the Poodle stage here. Maximize the efficiency. units to go. And that's done. How's our line looking? Hopefully it's going to be enough to deorbital. Awfully close. Let's bring it on down to about 35k. Even the 40 range is okay, but I want to bring it down to 35k just to be safe. Not bad, just enough delta V to get them home. Let's close those solar panels. Come on, solar panels, close. There you go. Alright, now let's get it on around and get them back home. 3, 2, 1, 0. There we go. Alright. Let's go back to staging mode. Punch the brakes. Use up the remainder. I'll lock it over to the side just a bit. That way, once it starts re-entry, it'll move a little out of the way of those. I think it's going to be safe either way, though. Once it starts to get too hairy, I'll just lock it straight back to the retro mark. Still pushing speed. We're still not feeling the burn too much just yet. Starting to get there, though. See that point 40 starting to raise up a little faster. I'd say it's about 0.5. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do it now. Alright, let's warp it on out of here. There it goes, too. Let's rotate this a little bit. That's good. Hopefully we have enough landing gear to get this thing safely back down to the ground. But I've done this kind of setup a million times, so it should be fine. Heading down for a splashdown as usual. It's a big command pod, but it should still reach the range of about 250 meters per second. Close enough. Alright, let's let those do their job. And then we'll deploy the others. Once it gets down just a little bit more, we'll deploy the rest of them. Pretty certain we're going to be okay then. Guess what? Still made it. I don't know how, but we still made it. That's what happens when you don't pay attention, right? Let's recover that before anything else happens. Thank God I had that heat shield on the bottom of it, or that probably wouldn't have happened. And those two mystery goo canisters. See, I'm losing my mind lately. Not focused up properly. Kind of wondering about the science from the breaking ground modules, though. If those are going to transfer or not. Or transmit. Because we don't have a relay out, and I think that's tidally locked. Might have to put a relay out just to get the data from it. But we'll find out. Puts us up to 350. Not bad. Still have all the science to get from the station. Let's go ahead and unlock one of these. Which one are we going for? Something that we need. We certainly need that to move towards this and to get some more science to do. But the relays and more, that communitron, that'll be useful. And the seismic reader. Yeah, let's go with that. We'll take that for now. Alright. Update the quick save. And then head to the tracking station. Let's see what's up with that breaking ground setup we have going on at the MUN. See if we can't get some science to start being transmitted from that. Splash down that curve, and hey, we can recover that. Hey, there's the science, thanks. How about this? What is this? Don't even know. Let's recover it though. And we can get rid of that debris. Our skipper stage, I think. Let's terminate it. And this. This is the big one. It's gonna be tidally locked, ain't it? Yeah, it's gonna be tidally locked. We have to have a relay out to even consider getting that data. That's gonna have to be what we're gonna have to do next. But for now, I kind of want to get this science data out of this station, try to unlock some more tech, and then lower the science gains down to 50% after we get enough to complete that tech tree, that part of the tech tree. But I'm not going to go too much further, because once it hits that 2-hour mark, I kind of want to be done with this. Alright, let's check our data, do some time warping, get that resource menu up. Electrical charge is looking good, with that added like 800 or so. Tons of data to work through. We're back up to 8.5 science a day, which is great. You guys are going to be on here in this station for longer than a couple years, which was the original intention. Hey, we're starting to get the goo data. That's good. Wonder how that happened. It's only on occasion though, from the looks of it. It's slowly transmitting it probably. Intermittently. Might be able to finish all of it by the time this is finished with all of its. We also need to make sure that these are set to allow partial before we start transmitting that data. We're making some gains though. We're doing good. Everything's going according to plan, kind of, in its own crazy way. Got another 100 to go and we can do the first transfer. Can't wait to cut this hair off. Ugh. 30, 20, 15, 10, 5, cut. Alright, that's maxed out now. Let's set these up to allow partial, and then we'll transmit that. Now let's transmit that science. That'll be enough to get us to maybe get 2 or 3 more, just with that alone. And then we'll rack up some more. It's kind of like counting to 50, and right now it's on 4. 5. Now I have to do that 10 more times. 6. All the way to 50. Yeah. Takes time. And I can't time warp any more than I am. But we can extend it out to 600 meters. It's not really that bad. Let's do it. Let's try to anyways. See just how stable this thing is. Alright. Apoapsis, periapsis, Let's begin the burn. See just how stable we can keep this thing. What are we controlling from though? That's the trick. We're not controlling from something properly. Let's control from this probodyne. Yep, that was the problem. Okay. Let's get these highlighted while that's locking back on the prograde. There we go. Let's get that out to just a little past 600,000. There we go. Let's warp on over there. This will speed things up quite a bit. Quite a bit. It's going to be useful. And it's only 100,000 more meters to push out to. It'll make the rendezvous with it and the docking with it much more easy, under less influence of curb and gravity. So overall, good move. Still have way more delta V than originally when we first put the station out into orbit. Alright, let's do this. Let's get that out to 600,000. Nice and stable too, to be honest. Alright, there we go. Let's get this done now. Maximum warp. Oh yeah. That breaking ground science at the Mun's getting done now too. Nice and quick. How's that science lab doing there? Oh yeah, now we're trucking. Now we're space trucking. Alright. Let's get that data transmitting. How about just a regular SAS lock? That's all we need. Please and thanks. Okay, now let's rack in more of that science. I think you can do up to 10 to 15 alerts by the time it's done. But we'll know soon enough. I'm pretty sure it'll be done before the science lab has exhausted all of its data. 3, 2, 1. Alright, let's transmit that now. Come on. Come on, there we go. Alright, let's move on. Still have 350 bits of data to go through here. Got 10 announcements on that data from the Mun experiment control station stuff. I think it might be capped out now. Pretty sure it's capped out. It hasn't sent us anything since the last one. It's been a while. Alright, let's transmit that batch that we have there. Do another round. Be cool to get it down to as minimal data as possible and get as much juice out of this as possible. And then we'll figure out what to do next. Of course, I am gonna lower that science gain setting as soon as we're done with this, down to 50%. It's gonna be a little more difficult from there. Might do one more pass after this one. Try to squeeze that data down as low as possible. 3, 2, 1, 0. Let's cut that now. Bring it on in to 500. There we go. Transmit that. Six, 8, 100. There we go. Let's continue. Just how much more do I need to squeeze out of you before cutting this off? Maybe this last pass, maybe one more after that, maybe even one more after that, but probably no more than that. It's almost down to just one science a day. It's probably going to be less than that by the time we're done with this pass. Yeah, it definitely is. It's going to take a lot longer now to squeeze more science after we get this up to 500 this time. I'm going to make this one the last one for now. Go unlock some stuff and call this one a quits for the day. Probably be back Saturday, unless I can get back on sooner. Yeah, this is definitely going to be the last one once it hits 500. At least for now. There's really not much else to put in this station, but we can squeeze a little more science out of it before we decommission it and bring these scientists home. Maybe. This is probably going to be the last one, actually. Then we can bring them home and send a new station out to Duna once it's ready. Just need some relays and all that good stuff. $50 to go, and then we'll be done with this station. Almost 4 years in space by the time it's done. Not bad. A 4-year mission to max out a few tiers of science and research and development. Good start though. Alright, let's get that transmitting so we can wrap this up. Alright. You're done for the moment. Let's quick save. Let's go back to the tracking station and get rid of that Proberton experiment control cluster on the MUN. Don't need it taking up space. It's already completed its job. Sometime today. Okay, there we go. Terminate. You're done. Alright, let's go back to the Space Center. Use some of these points. We're up to 3,164. Lord, okay. It's time to spend these points. Definitely want some probe core upgrading. Not really necessarily needing that just yet. Definitely want that. We'll get that. That could be useful soon. Let's get the nukes, some larger tanks, new docking port. Not too concerned about these just yet, but they might be useful at some point, but they're not going to be useful for a while. Those could be useful. Not seeing the use out of them just yet though. Let's upgrade the power banks. That'll be useful for a station. So are those panels for sure. Especially the further out we get. We can almost finish maxing this out. For the sake of getting to where we can unlock these, I'm gonna go ahead and get that. And if I had to pick between these two, I'd say I'm probably gonna have to go with that one. These are useful for making shuttle missions, but kind of more geared towards this, start unlocking these engines. So I'm gonna go with that. So we've almost got this tier completed now. Good enough for me. Let's go to the settings. Lower that on down to 50% now. Update that. And update the quick save. Update the main save. that's it for this episode. In the next episode, we're probably going to have to start putting some relays out, get that station prepared to be sent out to Duna, get one last pass on the current station, then deorbit it and bring those scientists home, and who knows what else. But that's it for now. Thank you for watching. Hope you've been enjoying the series so far and having a good time too. And I'll see you all next time. Peace out.